leads us forward even when we cannot see it. But how do we know that we are being helped? We often expect divine intervention to come in grand gestures, visions, voices from the sky, or sudden miracles. But the greatest signs of help are subtle, woven into the very fabric of our everyday existence. The question is, are we awake enough to notice them? Today, let us look at 7 profound signs that reveal you are not alone. You are being guided and you are being helped in ways you may not even realize. Many times in life we face obstacles that seem insurmountable. We cry out, "Why is this happening to me?" We question, we resist, we even lose faith. But if we look deeper, we will see that every challenge has been a lesson, every difficulty a chisel shaping us into something greater. Imagine a piece of raw stone. Left untouched, it remains ordinary, but when sculpted, it transforms into something divine. Life too sculpts us through difficulties. The struggles we go through are not punishments, they are refinements. If you notice that you are no longer breaking under challenges but growing through them, understand that this is not by accident. It is a sign that something larger than you is working on you. As we walk through life, we sometimes find ourselves losing things, relationships, jobs, comfort, and even deeply held beliefs. It is in our nature to cling, to hold on to what is familiar, even if it no longer serves us. But have you ever noticed how, after a storm, the sky becomes clearer? Sometimes the things we lose are not really losses, but releases. When something or someone is removed from your life, do not always see it as a tragedy. Instead, observe, was it something holding you back? Often we do not have the wisdom to let go, so life does it for us. This too is help, this too is grace. If you find that amidst all the life is not always smooth, it is not meant to be. Just as the river carves through rock to create valleys, just as the seed must break to become a tree, and just as the gold must pass through fire to be purified, we too must go through trials. This is not suffering, this is the way life shapes us. Yet when difficulties come, most people ask, "Why is this happening to me?" as if life has singled them out for punishment. They believe that pain, setbacks and hardships are cruel, unnecessary burdens. But have you ever paused to look back at your life and realize that some of your greatest strengths were born from your greatest struggles? That the very situations you thought would break you actually built you? If you can recognize this shift within yourself, if you can see that challenges are no longer making you weaker, but are instead making you wiser, stronger and more capable, then you must know this is not an accident. This is a sign. A sign that life or God or whatever you believe in is shaping you into something greater than you could have imagined for yourself. A piece of raw stone does not become a beautiful sculpture by remaining untouched. It must endure the chisel. It must lose parts of itself to reveal the masterpiece within. The more refined the sculpture, the more the stone has to be broken. But here is the key. The stone does not break into useless pieces. It is transformed. The same is true for you. When life puts you through difficult situations, when you feel the sharp edge of loss, rejection or struggle, you are not being broken. You are being carved into something far more beautiful, far more powerful than you were before. Think about the most inspiring people in the world. Whether it is great spiritual leaders, visionaries, or people who have made a lasting impact, none of them had an easy path. If you read their stories, you will find that all of them faced immense hardships, obstacles that seemed impossible to overcome. But instead of collapsing under the weight of their struggles, they allowed those very struggles to shape them into something extraordinary. What separates these people from those who merely survive life's difficulties? It is their understanding that pain is not the end, it is the beginning of transformation. The same situation that crushes one person can empower another. Imagine a storm. If a fragile bird tries to resist the storm, it will struggle and fall. But an eagle, it does not fight the storm. It uses the wind to rise higher. The storm does not break the eagle, it elevates it. Similarly, when you face challenges, you have a choice. You can see them as punishments, as misfortunes, and let them weaken you, or you can recognize them as opportunities. Opportunities to grow, to learn, to become something more than you were yesterday. But why does life work this way? Why can't everything just be easy and comfortable? Because comfort does not create strength. A tree that is never exposed to the wind will grow weak and fragile. The first strong gust will uproot it. But a tree that has faced storms stands tall, unshaken. In the same way, a person who has never been challenged remains untested. And what is untested is unproven. If life never put you through difficulties, how would you ever discover your own resilience, your own power, your own capacity for greatness? There is a deep intelligence in existence. It does not put obstacles in your way to destroy you. It puts them there to show you who you truly are. When you face financial struggles, you learn resourcefulness. When you face heartbreak, you learn inner strength. When you face failure, you learn persistence. Each challenge is a teacher. Each difficulty is shaping you into a person capable of greater things. But this shaping is only possible if you allow it. Many people resist life's lessons. They become bitter, angry, and frustrated. They see themselves as victims of circumstance rather than students of life. But if you shift your perspective, if you begin to see that every challenge carries within it the seed of growth, then no difficulty will ever defeat you. You will begin to move through life with a sense of trust. You will stop asking, why is this happening to me? And instead ask, what is this teaching me? And when this shift happens, something remarkable occurs. The struggles do not disappear, but they no longer have the power to break you. You no longer see yourself as someone who is suffering, but as someone who is evolving. You start to recognize that every hardship, every setback, every difficult moment was not a step backward, but a step forward in disguise. So if you find yourself facing obstacles, if life seems to be testing you, do not despair. Look closely, feel deeply. Something is happening beneath the surface. You are being shaped, refined, transformed, and this shaping is not random, it is intentional. Life, God, the universe, whatever name you choose, is not against you, it is working for you. It is helping you become the person you were always meant to be. And one day, when you look back, you will see that the things you once thought were breaking you were actually making you. That the pain you once resisted was actually a gift. That the very challenges you cursed were in truth blessings in disguise. And when you understand this, you will no longer fear hardships, you will welcome them. Because you will know they are not there to destroy you, they are there to reveal you. Life has a way of taking things from us. People, relationships, opportunities, jobs, comforts, and even deeply held beliefs. We often resist this process. We hold on tightly to what we know, afraid that without it we will be lost. But have you ever considered that what you lose is not always a loss? That sometimes life is not punishing you but rather making space for something greater? That the things, people and situations that leave your life are often the very things that were holding you back? When we are young, we think we know what is best for us. We make plans, build dreams and form attachments, believing that certain things must stay forever. We believe that if we lose them, we will suffer. But life operates with a wisdom far greater than our limited understanding. It removes what no longer serves us, not to hurt us, but to help us grow. Yet when we experience loss, we do not see this. We only see emptiness, uncertainty and fear. Think about the trees in autumn. Their leaves, which provided shade and beauty, begin to fall away. If you did not understand the cycle of nature, you might think the tree is dying. But the tree knows better. It does not cling to the old leaves. It lets them go because it understands that in letting go, it is preparing for renewal. It knows that if it does not shed the old, there will be no space for the new. The same is true in our lives. When something is removed, it is not a sign of destruction, it is a sign of transformation. But the problem is we do not see it this way. We resist, we hold on. When a relationship ends, we grieve. When a job is lost, we panic. When a phase of life comes to a close, we feel lost. We see these moments as tragedies rather than transitions. We mourn the falling leaves instead of trusting the coming spring. But if we look closely, we will see that every loss has in some way pushed us towards something better. Every door that closed forced us to walk through another, one we may never have chosen on our own. Think about your own life. How many times have you lost something only to later realize that it was a blessing? Perhaps you were stuck in a job that drained you, and losing it led you to a better opportunity. Perhaps you were in a relationship that was no longer aligned with your growth, and its end allowed you to find deeper love elsewhere or within yourself. Perhaps a dream you clung to did not come true, only for life to give you something even greater. If you reflect honestly, you will see that what you thought was a loss was in fact life's way of guiding you. But why does it hurt so much when we lose something? Why do we resist change, even when it is for our own good? The answer is simple. We fear the unknown. We are comfortable with what is familiar, even if it no longer serves us. We stay in situations that limit us because we are afraid of what will happen if we let go. But the truth is, what is meant for you will never leave, and what leaves was never truly meant for you, not in the long run. Life does not take away anything that you need to fulfill your highest potential. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with things you no longer need. Old clothes, broken tools, useless items. As you walk, the weight slows you down, makes you tired. Then one by one, life removes these items from your backpack. At first you panic. I need that, you think. But as you walk further, you realize you are moving faster, feeling lighter. The loss was never a loss. It was freedom. This is what happens when life removes something from your path. It is not taking from you, it is unburdening you. But to see this, you must be willing to trust. You must stop resisting what is leaving your life and start observing. If a person walks away, do not chase them. If an opportunity disappears, do not grieve it. Instead, ask yourself, what is life making space for? What new opportunity, what new growth, what new transformation is waiting for me? When you shift your perspective in this way, loss no longer feels like suffering. It feels like preparation. Think of the butterfly. Before it becomes something beautiful, it must let go of being a caterpillar. It must lose everything familiar, enter the cocoon, and surrender to transformation. If it resists, if it tries to hold on to its old form, it will never fly. But because it lets go, it becomes something greater. The same is true for you. The universe is not against you. It is always working in your favor, even when you do not understand it. But you must be willing to trust its process. You must be willing to release what no longer serves you. Even when it feels uncomfortable, you must learn to let go with grace, knowing that you must be willing to release what no longer serves you. Even cling, do not resist, do not see it as an end but as a beginning. Because if you let go with faith, life will always replace what was lost with something far more beautiful. There comes a moment in life when, despite everything going on around you, despite the noise, the chaos, the struggles, you feel something different, a calmness, a stillness, a sense of peace that cannot be explained by logic, nor is it tied to any external event. It is not because everything is perfect, it is not because all your problems have disappeared. It is simply there, sitting within you like a quiet flame that does not flicker, no matter how strong the wind blows. When this happens, understand that it is not accidental. It is a sign that something beyond your understanding is working in your life. Most people live their lives in a constant state of unrest. Their minds are filled with worry, their hearts are heavy with fear, and their thoughts are tangled in a web of anxiety about things they cannot control. They chase after happiness, believing it exists in the next achievement, the next relationship, the next milestone. But happiness is fleeting. It comes and goes like the weather, dependent on external circumstances. Peace, however, is different. It is not found outside of you. It is uncovered within you. You may have noticed this shift in your own life. Perhaps you once used to be disturbed by every little problem. If someone spoke against you, it would ruin your day. If a plan did not go as expected, frustration would take over. If you faced uncertainty, anxiety would creep in. But now something has changed. The same situations arise, but they no longer shake you in the same way. It is not that difficulties have disappeared. It is that you have become rooted in something deeper. This is a sign that you are being guided, that help is present, that you are moving closer to something far greater than you once imagined. But where does this peace come from? Why does it arrive when we least expect it? It is because real peace is not a product of circumstances. It is the result of alignment. When you begin to walk the path meant for you, when you start trusting life instead of resisting it, and when you surrender the need to control everything, peace naturally arises. You may not even understand why you feel this way. You may look at your life and think, I should be stressed, I should be worried, but I am not. And this, my friends, is the greatest sign of all. Because when the mind can no longer explain something, it means something deeper is at work. Consider the ocean. On the surface, there are waves constantly rising and falling. Some days the water is calm, other days it is stormy. But if you go deep enough beneath the surface, the ocean is always still. It does not matter what is happening above, there is an unshaken calmness below. This is the kind of peace that enters your life when you begin to align with something higher. You may still experience difficulties, but they no longer define you. Because deep within, there is a knowing, a quiet understanding that everything is as it should be. But most people do not experience this peace because they are too busy resisting life. They want things to happen on their terms. They fight against change, they cling to what is familiar, and they exhaust themselves trying to control what is beyond their reach. This is why they suffer, not because life is cruel, but because they do not yet trust its wisdom. But when you begin to let go, when you stop trying to force everything into place, you will notice something strange happening. The weight you have been carrying starts to lift. The worries that once consumed you begin to fade, and suddenly there is space within you for something new. Peace. There are moments in life when everything seems uncertain. You may not know what the future holds, you may not have all the answers, and yet you feel a strange sense of calm, almost as if you are being held, as if something unseen is supporting you. This is not an illusion, this is not mere positive thinking, it is real. It is a sign that you are not alone in this journey. It is life's way of whispering, trust me. And when you listen to that whisper, when you stop questioning every little thing and simply allow life to unfold, peace deepens. Many people think that peace comes when all their problems disappear. But if you are waiting for life to be perfect before you feel peaceful, you will wait forever. Peace does not come from the absence of problems. It comes from the presence of something greater within you. And when you recognize this, nothing outside of you can disturb it. Someone may insult you, but you will not react. A door may close, but you will not panic. The future may be uncertain, but you will not be afraid, because you will know that whatever happens, you are exactly where you need to be. This is true strength, not the kind that fights, but the kind that remains unmoved, not the kind that resists, but the kind that trusts. Because trust is the foundation of peace. When you trust life, when you trust that you are being guided, even when you cannot see the way, peace is inevitable. It is not something you need to chase. It is already there, waiting for you to recognize it. So if you have started feeling this unexplainable peace, if you no longer react to things the way you once did, if you feel a quiet sense of trust even when things are uncertain, understand that this is no small thing. This is not ordinary. This is grace. It is a sign that you are not alone. It is a sign that you are exactly where you are meant to be. It is a sign that you are exactly where you are meant to be. It is a sign that help is always present, even when you cannot see it. And once you experience this peace, there is no going back. Because once you have tasted something so deep, so real, no temporary trouble can take it away. You will still face challenges, you will still encounter difficulties, but you will no longer fear them, because you will know that beneath it all you are held. And that, my friends, is the greatest blessing of all. Life has an extraordinary way of bringing people into our journey at just the right moment. Sometimes it happens when we least expect it. Someone walks into our life and suddenly everything shifts. Other times it happens after a long period of waiting, just when we are about to give up. But whether we recognize it immediately or only in hindsight, the truth remains the same. The right people come into our lives at the right time, not a moment too early, not a moment too late. We often believe that we must go searching for people, that we must chase relationships, connections, and opportunities. We think that if we do not actively pursue them, we will be left alone. But if you reflect on your life, you will realize that the most meaningful relationships, the ones that truly mattered, were not forced. They were not planned. They simply happened. And they happened at a time when you needed them the most, even if you did not know it at the time. Think about the friends who entered your life during a difficult season, the mentor who appeared just when you needed guidance, the stranger who offered wisdom at a time of confusion. These are not coincidences. These are reminders that life or a higher force is always at work, ensuring that the right people cross your path at the perfect moment. But here is the challenge. Many people do not recognize when this is happening. They are too caught up in their own expectations, in their own idea of how things should be. They cling to the wrong people, hoping to force something that is no longer meant to be. They chase relationships that are slipping away, fearing that letting go will leave them alone. They reject new connections because they do not fit the picture they had in mind. But life does not operate according to our expectations. It operates according to a deeper intelligence, one that understands what we need better than we do. Consider this: when you are on a journey, you meet different people at different points. Some walk with you for a short while, others stay for miles, and a few remain until the very end. If you try to hold on to everyone forever, you will not be able to move forward. Some people are meant to teach us lessons and then leave. Others are meant to grow with us, and a select few are meant to be with us through it all. Understanding this is the key to peace. When we stop resisting the natural flow of relationships, we begin to see that every person who enters or exits our life is part of a greater plan. But how do we know when the right people have arrived? How do we recognize them? It is simple. The right people do not drain you, they uplift you. They do not create confusion, they bring clarity. They do not demand that you change into something you are not. They support you in becoming who you are meant to be. When you are around them, you feel a sense of ease, a sense of connection that cannot be explained but can always be felt. There is no force, no struggle, no need to pretend. Think about the relationships in your life, the ones that feel heavy, the ones that leave you exhausted. Perhaps they have already served their purpose. Perhaps life is trying to make space for something better. And the ones that bring lightness, that bring wisdom, that feel effortless, those are the ones to cherish. Because the right people do not come into your life to take from you. They come to walk with you, to grow with you, and to remind you of who you truly are. But just as the right people enter at the right time, the wrong ones leave when they are meant to. And this is where many people struggle. They hold on to relationships that have run their course, afraid of what will happen if they let go. They confuse familiarity with necessity. But when a chapter is over, no amount of holding on can bring it back. When someone's role in your life is complete, they will leave, no matter how much you want them to stay. And this is not a punishment, it is a gift, because only when you release what no longer serves you can you receive what is meant for you. Imagine you are holding a handful of sand. If you grip it too tightly, it slips through your fingers. But if you hold it with an open palm, it remains. The same is true for relationships. When you force people to stay, when you resist change, you create suffering. But when you trust that life knows what it is doing, you find peace. You stop begging people to stay, you stop chasing what is leaving, you trust that what is meant for you will always find you, and one day you will look back and see that every person who entered your life was there for a reason. The ones who hurt you made you stronger, the ones who challenged you made you wiser, the ones who loved you taught you what love truly is, and the ones who stayed, those are your soul's companions, the ones who were always meant to walk with you. So, if someone has entered your life and brought light, gratitude and growth, recognize it as a gift. If someone has left, trust that their departure is making space for something greater. The right people will come exactly when they are meant to, and they will stay for as long as they are meant to. You do not need to force anything. You do not need to chase. You simply need to trust, because when you surrender to this truth, when you stop questioning every arrival and every departure, life becomes much simpler. You stop trying to control what is beyond your control. You stop resisting the flow of relationships, and you begin to move with life rather than against it. And that is when the magic happens. That is when the right people walk in. Not because you chased them, not because you forced them, but because they were always meant to find you. There comes a time in life when you begin to see things more clearly, not with your physical eyes, but with something deeper. You start to sense what is right and what is wrong, not based on logic alone, but on a feeling, an inner knowing that does not require explanation. This is intuition. And when your intuition sharpens, when it becomes more precise and powerful, it is not just a coincidence. It is a sign that you are being guided, that something beyond your understanding is helping you navigate life in ways you may not even realize. Most people live their lives disconnected from their intuition. They rely only on external information, on what others say, on what society dictates, on what seems logical or practical. But logic alone is limited. It can only take you so far. There are moments in life when logic cannot explain everything, when the right path is not the most obvious one, when a decision does not make sense on paper but feels absolutely right in your heart. That feeling, that deep inner knowing is intuition. And when it starts to sharpen, when it begins to guide you more strongly, it is a clear indication that you are aligning with something higher, something greater than yourself. Perhaps you have noticed this shift in your own life. Situations that once confused you no longer seem unclear. You find yourself making decisions faster, with more confidence. You can sense when a person's intentions are genuine and when they are not. You can feel when an opportunity is meant for you and when it is better to walk away. And the most beautiful part, you do not need to justify it to anyone, because intuition does not need validation. It does not ask for permission. It simply knows. But why does this happen? Why does intuition become stronger at certain times in life? It is because intuition is directly linked to awareness. The more conscious you become, the more tuned in you are to the deeper currents of life. When you start letting go of unnecessary distractions, when you stop being overly influenced by external noise, when you trust yourself more than the opinions of others, your intuition naturally becomes clearer. It is not something you have to force. It is something that awakens within you when you are ready. Think of intuition like a muscle. If you never use it, it remains weak. If you constantly ignore it, it becomes silent. But the moment you start listening, the moment you trust those subtle feelings, that quiet voice inside, your intuition grows stronger. And the stronger it becomes, the more effortlessly life begins to flow. You no longer second-guess yourself. You no longer waste time on the wrong people, the wrong places, the wrong decisions. You simply know. But here is the challenge. Many people do not trust their intuition. They feel it, but they doubt it. They sense something is off, but they convince themselves they are overthinking. They have a strong feeling about a decision, but they let logic override it. And in doing so, they ignore the very guidance that is trying to protect them. But the truth is, intuition does not scream, it whispers. It does not force, it nudges. If you ignore it long enough, it will not disappear, but it will become harder to hear. Have you ever had a moment when you ignored your intuition, only to later realize you should have listened? Perhaps you trusted someone even though something inside you felt off. Perhaps you pursued an opportunity despite feeling uneasy about it. And later, when things went wrong, you thought, I knew it, I felt it, but I ignored it. This is why intuition is so powerful. It often knows the truth long before our minds do. It picks up on things our conscious mind has not yet processed. And when you learn to trust it, life becomes much simpler. But intuition is not just about avoiding the wrong things. It is also about recognizing the right ones. It is that sudden feeling of certainty when you meet someone who will become important in your life. It is that deep sense of peace when you choose a path that aligns with your true purpose. It is that unexplainable excitement when you step into an opportunity that is meant for you. These moments are not random. They are signs that you are in alignment, that you are listening to something beyond the surface level of life. And the more you listen, the more life rewards you. You find yourself in the right places at the right time. You meet the right people just when you need them. You avoid unnecessary struggles because you can sense what is not meant for you. Life begins to flow with a certain ease. Not because challenges disappear, but because you are no longer resisting the natural guidance that has always been within you. But how do you strengthen your intuition? The first step is to listen. Stop dismissing those subtle feelings. If something feels off, trust it. If something feels right, go for it. The second step is to quiet the noise. In today's world, we are constantly bombarded with opinions, advice, and external influences. But intuition speaks in stillness. Spend time alone, reflect, meditate, observe. The more you connect with yourself, the louder your intuition becomes. And most importantly, let go of the need for external validation. Intuition does not require proof. It does not need others to agree with it. It simply is. The more you trust it, the more it grows. The more it grows, the more it guides you. And before you know it, life begins to unfold in ways that seem almost magical. Not because you are lucky, but because you are aligned. One day you will look back and see that your intuition was right all along. The things you avoided, the things you embraced, the people you walked away from, the opportunities you pursued, all of it was guiding you toward exactly where you needed to be. And in that moment, you realize that you were never lost. You were always being led. So if your intuition is becoming sharper, if you are feeling things more deeply, sensing things more clearly, take it as a sign you are not imagining it, you are awakening, you are stepping into a deeper level of awareness. And when you embrace this, when you fully trust it, life will begin to unfold in ways you never thought possible, because intuition is not just a feeling, it is a gift. It is your inner compass, your silent guide, your connection to something far greater than yourself. And once you learn to trust it, you will never feel lost again. There comes a time in life when doors begin to open in ways that you never expected. Just when you think you have reached a dead end, just when you begin to question whether things will ever change, something shifts, a new path appears. A conversation leads to an unexpected opportunity, a setback turns out to be a blessing in disguise. It is as if life itself is orchestrating events, aligning circumstances and guiding you towards something greater. Most people spend their lives trying to force doors open. They believe that the only way forward is through relentless effort, through struggle, through pushing against every obstacle. While effort is important, while perseverance has its place, there is another force at play, one that cannot be explained by logic alone. When you are in alignment with your path, when you are moving in the right direction, opportunities begin to arise in the most mysterious ways. Not because you chase them, not because you force them, but because they were meant for you all along. But here's the challenge. Most people do not recognize these moments when they happen. They are too caught up in their own expectations, in their rigid ideas of how things should unfold. They expect opportunities to come in a certain form, at a certain time, in a certain way, and when they do not, they assume that nothing is happening. But life does not work according to our expectations. It works according to its own rhythm, its own intelligence. And the moment you begin to trust that, the moment you open yourself to the unknown, you will start to see opportunities appearing in ways you never imagined. Have you ever had a situation where something you thought was a failure actually led to something better? Maybe you lost a job, only to find a career that was far more fulfilling. Maybe a relationship ended, only to make space for someone who was truly meant for you. Maybe a plan fell apart, only to redirect you to something even greater. In the moment, it may have seemed like a setback, but looking back, you realize it was exactly what needed to happen. This is the mystery of life. It is always working for you, even when you do not understand it in the moment. But here is where many people get stuck. They resist change, they cling to what is familiar, afraid to let go, afraid to trust the unknown. They see closed doors as failures rather than as signs that they are being redirected. And in doing so, they miss the opportunities that are trying to find them. The truth is, not every door is meant to open. Sometimes a door closes not because you are being denied something, but because something greater is waiting for you elsewhere. When you understand this, you stop wasting energy on forcing things that are not meant for you. You stop chasing what is slipping away. Instead, you learn to trust. You learn to flow. And in that state of trust, opportunities begin to come effortlessly. But trust does not mean inaction. It does not mean sitting back and waiting for life to happen. It means being present, being open, and recognizing the signs when they appear. Sometimes an opportunity will come disguised as hard work. Sometimes it will come in the form of a challenge. Sometimes it will come through a person you least expected. If you are not paying attention, you will miss it. If you are too attached to a specific outcome, you will overlook the doors that are actually opening. Think of life as a river. If you fight against the current, if you try to swim upstream, you will exhaust yourself. But if you learn to move with the flow, if you trust the direction in which life is taking you, you will reach your destination with far less struggle. This is the difference between forcing opportunities and allowing them. The more you force, the more resistance you create. The more you trust, the more doors open naturally. And one day you will look back and realize that the biggest opportunities in your life did not come from chasing. They came from alignment. They came when you were ready, when you had done the inner work, when you had created space for them. Because the truth is, opportunities are always around you. Life is always presenting you with paths forward. But only when you are open, only when you are willing to see beyond your limited expectations, do these opportunities reveal themselves. So if you find yourself in a place where things are uncertain, if you feel like doors are closing and nothing is happening, do not be discouraged. Do not assume that just because you cannot see the way forward, there is no way forward. Life is working in ways that you may not yet understand. The right people, the right circumstances, the right moments, they are all aligning for you